Good evening. Whenever people think about immigration, they typically like to think of it like a travel checklist. New address, check. New language, check. New weather, check. And check again, especially if you're moving from the heat of South India to January in Maryland. I experienced my first winter thinking that 60 degrees meant freezing cold. But the truth is, when my family and I moved here from India to America when I was 7 years old, we didn't just pack clothes and documents. We packed habits, words, foods, and rituals, and an entire world. The reality of immigration isn't just stamped on a passport. It's stuffed inside a suitcase. A suitcase full of things that people don't always see. Immigrating is adapting to a new version of yourself. And these adaptations are not limited to just immigrants. They are for every single one of us. For example, moving from school to school, graduating high school or college, starting a new job, or entering a new friend group with people that you're unfamiliar with. Every single person goes through transitions in their lives. So that brings us to the question, how do we survive these transitions? My name is Arpita, Vijay, and today I'll be discussing code switching, how it affects the identities that we build, the stories that shape us, and the lives that we live. Firstly, what is code switching? To explain this, I'd like you to raise your hand if, when you text your friends, you don't use punctuation, you use slang, and you text using abbreviations. Great. Now, keep your hand up if you use that exact same style of writing for an essay for your English teacher. I saw those hands go down. And if you would write an essay like that, you might need to have a talk with your English teacher. That switch that you just made there from formal composition for your English teacher versus how you speak to your closest friends, that demonstrates code switching. Code switching is how you change the way you behave, present yourself, or speak, based on where you are or who you're with. These changes don't just have to do with how you act, but they can also be with how you use humor, tone, or body language. It can even be the set of values that you have based on where you are. It's like having a terminal system inside of your brain, like an airport. Think of it like your brain directing you how to act based on where you are. For example, terminal F for family, terminal P for professional settings, and terminal S for complete strangers. This is how we survive. Code switching has become a survival skill for every single one of us. But there's a risk that comes along with it. It's that if you keep switching yourself constantly and adapting to different environments all the time, you risk losing who you actually are. I learned this early. One day in elementary school, I went to school with my ticket. Not my lunchbox, but my ticket. With what I saw powders on my face from a prayer ritual. A friend had innocently asked me, "What are those powders on your face?" And instead of responding calmly, I instantly wiped them off. And the residue of these powders on my face was like a reminder that I wasn't just wiping off powders. I was wiping off parts of my identity. It's important to remember that when you make changes in your daily life, you should preserve who you truly are. We all go through these changes. We edit ourselves, we soften our accents, we quiet our opinions. We don't show the personality traits to other people that we don't think are cool enough. And we hide the parts of ourselves that someone else wants. But the truth is, you don't need to do that. You don't need to hide parts of yourself. Life, I've come to realize, is quite like an airport. There's security, where certain parts of yourself are seemingly not allowed in different environments. There's the baggage claim, where you pick up pieces of yourself that you rediscover. And finally, there's the conveyor belt, where a loop of identities are always rotating around you. And as each suitcase passes by, you ask these questions. Is this mine? Is this who I'm supposed to be? Do I pick up this version of myself or wait for another one to arrive? Sometimes you pick up a suitcase that looks like yours, but when you open it, you realize it's completely different. You don't need to hide parts of yourselves that other people don't agree with. You can eat biryani for lunch and have Chipotle for dinner. You can be a coffee lover and still have tea sometimes. You can think in one accent and speak in another. It is acceptable to be who you want to be, to accept others for who they are, and to truly accept yourself for who you are based on your beliefs, your values, and your true morals. So, I have a couple of challenges for all of you. Firstly, don't shrink your suitcase. Don't dilute your identity, your culture, or your past to fit a space that was never designed for your full identity. Secondly, make space for someone else's suitcase. Instead of wrinkling your nose at someone else's lunch, ask what's in it. Instead of hiding a part of yourself that you don't think others will understand, express it to the whole world. And thirdly, unpack. Unpack loudly and unpack proudly. Unpack the parts of yourself that you thought nobody would understand. Because those are the parts that our world needs the most to fill itself with diversity, culture, and love. It's important to accept your suitcase for what it's actually filled with. Suitcases are meant to be packed to the full capacity, to overflow, remember to preserve who you truly are when you're moving constantly from different places and adapting to different transitions. So finally, I'll end with a question that changed everything for me. My name is Arpita Vijay. This is what's in my suitcase. What's in